Microbes interact in an ecosystem. These biological interactions are the effect that an organism in a community have on one another. There are various different kinds of microbial interactions, which include the interaction with other microbes, interaction with plants, interaction with animals, interaction with humans, as well as with other abiotic factors. These microbial interactions are diverse and critically important in the function of any biological community and are crucial in global biogeochemistry. So broadly define microbial interactions into two types: intraspecific interactions, that's interaction between organisms belonging to the same species or within the same population. So when Vibrio cholera interact with Vibrio cholera, it's called intraspecific interaction. However, when Vibrio cholera interacts with Staphylococcus aureus, it is called interspecific interaction because both Vibrio cholera and Staphylococcus belong to different species, even different genera. So these interactions are between different populations. So why do microbes need to interact? There are various different reasons of interactions. They interact either to increase their habitat range, like in case of lichen. We will discuss this further. Secondly, they can interact to increase the ability to use resources, space, nutrients, and food. And the third main reason for such interactions would be either to increase their own growth or decrease the growth rate of other organisms. The interactions between two populations are classified according to whether both populations or one of them benefit from the association or one or both populations are negatively affected. So there are two types of interaction: positive interaction and negative interaction. As you can see, I have listed 4 positive interactions including mutualism, syntropism, commensalism, and Fruital Cooperation. Similarly, there are 4 negative interactions like predation, parasitism, competition, and commensalism, which occur among microbial population in an ecosystem. Remember, the most common cooperative interactions seen in any microbial systems are mutually benefited. So first we will discuss positive interactions in which either both member or one member of the association is benefited. The first type of positive interaction is mutualism. It means it is a relationship in which each organism interacts and gets benefit from each other. It's a bidirectional positive relationship. Remember, it's an obligate relationship, which means both the members are metabolically dependent upon each other and cannot survive without each other. Important thing is that it is highly specific. That means one member of the association cannot be replaced by another species. And when they are present in an association, they behave like a single organism. And this relationship allows the organism to exist in a habitat that cannot be occupied by either of the species alone. So we will be discussing 2 examples of mutualism. The first example is lichen, which is a classical example of mutualism. It is an association of fungi belonging to Ascomycota and either green algae or cyanobacteria. The fungal part is called microbiome and the algal part or the cyanobacterial part is called the phycobiont. The phycobiont is the one which gives its green appearance because of the chlorophyll in it. The phycobiont produces food using sunlight as a source of energy and provides source of carbon to fungi. And what fungi gives in return is that it provides protection to the algae from dry environment and protects the algae from environmental stresses like excessive heat and dryness. The second example of mutualism is an association between a protozoa called Trichonympha and termite. These protozoans are present in the gut of termite. You can see this is a termite, its gut, and when it's cut open, you can see this Trichonympha in it. So, in this association, the termite benefits from the ability of bacterial symbiont within the protozoa to digest cellulose. So, this protozoan has the ability to digest cellulose to convert into acetate. Cellulose, remember, is the basic food of termite because it eats wood, but it doesn't have the ability to convert the cellulose into acetate. So what this protozoa do for termite, when termite intakes the wood, it converts the cellulose into acetate. And then the termite can use this acetate to convert into energy and utilize it. So what the protozoan get in return is that it gets a protective environment and a constant supply of food from the wood chewing action of the termite. Basically, it's a mutualistic relationship. So termite cannot survive without Trichonympha, and Trichonympha cannot survive without termite in this association. The second type of positive interaction is called Syntropic Association or cross-feeding. It is an association in which the growth of one organism either depends on or is improved by the substrate produced by the other organism. So it's also a bidirectional benefit in which both the organisms are benefited. An example of syntropic association is an association between Lactobacillus rhamnosus and Enterococcus faecialis in a laboratory conditions. So in laboratory condition, when they are grown together, Enterobacter requires folic acids, which is produced by Lactobacillus. So indirectly, Lactobacillus benefits Enterococcus. So what Enterococcus gives to Lactobacillus, it produces phenylalanine, which is used by Lactobacillus. So a product of one member is used as substrate by the another member. So it's a beneficial relationship in which both the members are benefited. Remember, this is one of the most interesting type of association which can be utilized in applied microbiology for degradation of organic pollutants such as oil, aromatic compounds, and metals. The third positive relationship is fruital cooperation. It is very much similar to mutualism, in which both the organisms are benefited. But in contrast to mutualism, two interacting organisms are not closely dependent on each other. So it's not an obligate relationship. Both the members can survive without each other. Example of fruital cooperation is an association between nitrogen fixing bacteria and cellulose degrading bacteria, which actually interconnect with the carbon nitrogen cycle. So nitrogen fixer actually converts atmospheric nitrogen into ammonium ions, which are utilized by cellulose degrading bacteria as a source of nitrogen. The cellulose degrading bacteria converts this cellulose into glucose, which is used as source of carbon by nitrogen fixing bacteria. So in this relationship, both the members, that is nitrogen fixing bacteria and cellulose degrading bacteria, are benefited. But when they are not in this form of association, they can have another other sources of carbon and of nitrogen. So this is not an obligate relationship. Fourth type of positive interaction is commensalism. In commensalism, one member of the association is benefited and the other member is neither benefited nor harmed, so it remains unaffected. So when a commensal organism, the organism which is benefited in the association, is separated from the host experimentally, then it can survive without it if we provide some external source of nutrient to it. So it's a non-obligate relationship. So in a commensal relationship between organism, waste product of one microorganism is the substrate of another species. So this association occurs when one microbial group modifies the environment to make it more suited for another organism. So we'll be discussing two examples of commensalism. The first example is of intestinal microorganism, that is E. coli and Bacteroides. E. coli is a facultative anaerobe, that is, it can survive under both the presence and absence of oxygen, whereas Bacteroides are obligate anaerobes. They cannot survive in the presence of oxygen. So in this relationship, E. coli makes environment better for Bacteroides. What it does, E. coli uses the oxygen present in the gut of human and lowers the level of oxygen, making the environment suitable for Bacteroides. So Bacteroides are benefited and E. coli is neither benefited nor harmed. So here Bacteroides are commensal and E. coli is their host. The second example of commensalism is an association between Nitrosomonas and Nitrobacter, which are involved in nitrogen cycle. So nitrosomonas actually converts ammonia into nitrite by oxidizing it. This nitrite is then used as an energy source by Nitrobacter to finally convert into nitrate. So Nitrobacter is benefited by Nitrosomonas. So here Nitrobacter is the commensal and Nitrosomonas is the host, which is neither benefited nor harmed.